2005, 2006, Ramadi, Iraq. Anyone who doesn't know this, that's probably, if not definitely one of the, what do you say, shitstorms that we've ever seen in war, and Ramadi, Iraq, like, known for being where a lot of crazy stuff happened. There, that was real war there, right? Man. And you were there in the thick of it, right?
Yeah, and I would say real war in the sense of what the war on terror was.
Yes,
you know what I mean. It wasn't World War II,
right?
Trench fighting, that kind of stuff, but it was in the sense of the global war on terror.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of people, like, we were just talking about before, Jocko, Chris Kyle, the devil of Ramadi, right? And who were there at the time you were there. Right.
Yep.
So tell us, what was that like?
Oh man. I'll be honest with you, man. That's probably one of the greatest years of my life. One of the greatest and one of the worst. Yeah.
Wow.
And I say
and
that.
That's so, wow. Sorry, go ahead. That's so interesting.
It is, because I think you'll find like military members who really solidify and being a soldier and stuff like that. Combat is that ultimate experience to be able to test that, right? And combat does bring a lot of unfortunate situations. We lose men and women. They're injured, they're maimed, and so I don't say that lightly, but I learned a lot about me as an individual, about my team and people that I grew up with during that time. So that time period, 05, 06, that's what solidified me of saying, hey, I'm going to build a career in the military. Did it suck? Absolutely, man. Yeah. I mean, I had a 3-year-old son when I left, and when I came back, he was 5.
Wow.
So our total deployment was 18 months, and a year of that was spent in Ramadi. But, that was a crazy time, man. And I don't think, being a 22-year-old kid is what I'll say at that time, and being an E5 and that's a brand new non-commissioned officer you're leading and stuff like that. It was eye-opening, man. And you learn, like I said, a lot about yourself, but it taught me so much about leadership and the fact that I can do hard things, right?
Sure,
and I can accomplish hard things. That's our family motto is hard work pays off. And so the military really is what I would tell you gave me all of my work ethic, any skill set that I could profess that I have, it came from the military.
Yeah.
And so I'm so thankful for the opportunity to serve. And I don't know if you know this, but like less than 1% of the American population puts on a uniform.
Yeah, it's true.
That's wild, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's not because, people can't do it or whatever. There's different opportunities out there, but the ones that do, I think ultimately will find great success, right?
Yeah.
If you jump in on every opportunity and you go to college and you use those benefits and then build that into an entrepreneur, role or whatever it may be, but it's incredible to serve. But that 0506, man, I'm so thankful to be a part of the Triple Deuce and what we're able to accomplish. Like, I'm a regular warfighter. I'm no Jocko. I'm no Chris Kyle. By any means would I ever try to say, hey, look at me, I've done all this. But at 22 years old, leading a gun truck and going into crazy places in Ramadi, I was willing to do all of that, and I would do it again in a heartbeat, man.
Well, everyone I talk to is in the military. It's not a comparison of like who does what. It's we all gave it all. Like, we all had our neck on the line, and that's how it is,
Bro, let's talk about that mindset.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you the very first night that we showed up in Ramadi, it's unnerving, dude. You're going into, like, we flew in on these little choppers and landed in Ramadi, and we go to these just tents. And so at the time I told you we were taking in a whole bunch of incoming rounds into the base, right?
How many were you saying you guys were taking?
So it was like 18 to 20 something a day that were coming in. A day.
18 to 20 rounds a day. And this is not just like,
these are mortars and rockets.
These are mortars and rockets, like big booms.
Yeah. So it's unnerving, man. Like, especially even though you feel like you're prepared for combat at that time, like to have that stuff actually happening, you get into a mindset, man, that you have to operate knowing that any moment could be your last. Yeah. And you have to be okay with that. You don't know where
that's going to land. You don't know how many are coming in.
You can't worry about it because if you do,
you're literally
worry,
living in a target.
Absolutely, man. You're a target-rich environment in a operating base, man, because you're just a bunch of dudes and women that are walking around trying to get business done, and those rounds are coming in. But yes, you operate in a way where okay, any moment could be my last, and I've got to be okay with it. And I think most military members would tell you that's you have to reach that point or you cannot be effective. And that first night, man, I slept for about 30 seconds because of everything that was going on. And I realized real quick that I wasn't going to be effective for my team if I didn't just say, you know what, it is what it is.
Right.
God's in control, and I'm going to go do my job.
Yeah, because you doing your job is what allows everyone else to do their job. And them doing it's all interconnected web.
100%.
If you don't perform, you're a weak link in the chain, and that puts people's lives on the line, right? That puts everyone at risk.
Yeah, you're not dealing in capital, you're not dealing in equipment and stuff like that. You're dealing in lives.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important.
Well, here's why I really want to understand that, because that creates a lot. That could very well easily fuck someone up mentally, right?
Absolutely, man.
Live like knowing every time you go to sleep, knowing every time you wake up, you're waiting for mortars. You're honestly kind of anticipating it because it's coming in 18 to 20 times a day. Obviously, I know you guys had a lot of success pushing that back.
Yep.
But even then, you're talking about still having them coming in on a regular basis because you're under attack on a regular basis. That can change a man.
It does.
And it's changed a lot of men. A lot of men come home and they're not the same.
Right.
And this is what I really want to talk to you guys about, is because that you mentioned the project, right?
Yep.
That's what it's all about for you guys.
100%,
You've been
man.
through that with Ramadi, and you know what other men have been through. And when they come home, they don't acclimate the same, because whether what they've been through or not, they do not acclimate the same, and they need help. So tell us, what is the Forge Forward project? What is that?
Man, this is something, whoever your listeners are, guys, understand that me and my whole team are extremely passionate about what we're doing here. This is good. This is my life's project. This is my team's life's project. This is what we want to accomplish with. If I do nothing else besides raise respectful children, then this is what I hope to do. Is to do some good in this field. So the Forge Forward project, man, we started off with a concept and idea that, hey, we want to make a difference. We got to find a way to make a difference in military members' lives, and there's something missing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the statistic? How many military men who come home commit suicide every day?
Well, I mean, 22 a day.
22 a day.
Which, let me just give a caveat to that. We had some really great awareness of 22 a day, right? Awareness isn't enough anymore.
No.
And I can't stress that enough to your listeners, that awareness was great, and doing some social media and doing 22 push-ups. I love it, and we're thankful for it. But now is the time to actually start putting that awareness into action. And we have an opportunity to do that.
Tangible action. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And I'll tell you right now, the project is a real way to do some real good. And we believe that there's a potential cure for post-traumatic stress out there.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And the stuff that we're doing and creating, it's never been done before. And so that's why it's so exciting as a nonprofit. I mean, that's a big deal. And so just being able to come on here and talk about this is huge for us. So thank you again. But so the project started off, man, just circling back, as we knew we wanted to do something and to help our military members. And it started off as, hey, let's get into some wilderness therapy stuff, and let's find some land. Let's start doing those kinds of things. And that's absolutely going to be a part of what we're doing.
Absolutely.
But I had some struggles, man, because I created a apparel line. We created a men's care body wash and men's care products. And the idea of creating those products was to help fund our own projects. So not just going to someone and saying, hey man, give me $20 and help us fund this. We were like, hey, buy some cool products, and then we will push the proceeds into the nonprofit. So you get something, and then we're able to move forward with the project, right? We didn't want to be just that. Like, hey, give us,
just take donations.
Yeah, just give, right? We wanted to give something back. Also, I believe this is a movement, man.
Yeah.
What we're trying to create here in the project is not just like, hey, we're going to help and check it out. We have a podcast. We have so many different things.
Which I was on, and I love what you guys are doing. Yeah.
And thank you again. It was an incredible show. I can't wait to share that with our listeners, man. Yeah. But like, we're doing a lot. And so, but I had my struggles, man. It took, I started this thing in 2018, and I could not figure out why it was taking me so long to gain traction. And then all of a sudden I knew Nathaniel Free, good friend of mine in the military. We served for years together. We did different operations and stuff within the military stateside. And then he was like, hey, that's a good idea. Let me introduce you to this guy, James Danzy. And these guys, Free is our chief communications officer now in the project, and he's a part of another organization with what's called VRX, and that's we're going to get to that, okay? James Danzy, who's our chief strategy officer. His job is to go out and make partnerships with people and talk about what we're doing. And he's doing a phenomenal job. These things start to roll. And then next thing you know, the guy who helped us develop those products with Dynamic Blending, shout out those guys. They're a Utah company as well, doing great things. He becomes our chief operations officer. So now things are starting to roll. The podcast is kicking off. Yeah. Everything is starting to come into place. And then the next step for us was VRX. So, dude, VRX is what's going to change the world of PTSD, especially in veterans' lives, but not only just veterans' lives, but I think in the entire world.